All right, welcome to another episode of Key Biscayne Stories where neighbors meet neighbors. Today we have Max Waicman. He's the owner of Milanesa Kitchen Bar Market. How are you doing, Max?
Everything's great. How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for joining us today and telling us all about Milanesa.
It's a pleasure.
So I have an icebreaker question for you. I know you're an entrepreneur, you've been doing this for a while. What is a piece of advice you would like to give entrepreneurs out there?
Entrepreneurs out there, I would say don't give up. Always believe in yourself, and no matter what happens, always keep on going. Don't stop. The world, everything happened around us. Everything there's a problem. Always there's problems. Every day there's going to be problems. People not supporting you or saying that it won't work, but you just have to go and keep on going and believe in yourself. That's that's what I recommend.
I like that. A lot of entrepreneurs don't get that support at first, right? From family members or people around them. They have to believe in themselves and push forward.
Yeah. Something is a crazy, some people think it's a crazy idea. Some people think it can work. That there's not many people doing it, whatever. But always, try to believe in yourself, and in the long run, time will help you. And if you're persistent and you keep going, in the long run, you're gonna do fine
Awesome.
or great.
It's true. True.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Milanesa. How did it all start?
Let's start by the beginning. So basically, I was in Argentina, and the situation in Argentina wasn't, the political economical situation in Argentina has never been great. So at one point in time, we decided with my wife to explore different, places, and one of the options was the United States. So I used to live here when I was a kid, something that not a lot of people know. I was raised here in Key Biscayne. I did my elementaries here in Key Biscayne, in the 8th Center. I used to live in Mar Azul when I was a kid. From 6 years old, I was here in Key Biscayne. So I always used to come every year on vacations or when I could, and I used to visit some friends and always missed Miami. And then at one point in time, one of my younger brothers came to live here, and then the other one also came to live here, and then I was like the third one to come here. So when I came here to Key Biscayne, that was in 2012. I came with my wife and my two kids. They were really small. They were like 2 years old, one of them, and the other one was 6 months. And we started looking for opportunities here, and one of the options was to build a Milanesa. It was something that I was doing in Argentina. I was running Benihana, the restaurant Benihana.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was running Benihana in Argentina. I was the GM there. One of my friends from Argentina, he invested in Benihana, and I helped him build out the restaurant. And I was running it at that time. And then when we made the decision, we said, okay, let's go and start a restaurant in the United States, which again was a crazy idea. There was a lot of restaurants. There was a lot of competition. The same thing I told you at the beginning, so don't worry about that, do your best, and in the long run we're doing great. So it was hard at the beginning. It was very hard, really. It was different, very different. The culture, the people, everything from Argentina to coming here was very hard. But at the beginning we had a lot of problems because we didn't know, a lot of the legal stuff or the administration. It's done differently here than in the United States than in our countries in Latin America, especially the construction, the permitting, hiring an architect, all that. It's very different. But well, we managed. The name Milanesa actually comes from something that not many people know. From the conjugation of two words. It's Milanesa in Spanish with S-A, and then it's pizza. So we put those two words together, and we made up Milanesa. So it's actually
Milanezza.
yeah. So it depends on the language, but Milanesa it's a conjugation of that, Milanesa and pizza. So that's what the concept is, right? It's like actually like a meat pizza. You've been there a lot of times, so you know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
you choose like the base and then just the toppings on it. So the base is the Milanesa, and then the toppings are like a pizza.
Okay, so the right way to say Milanesa, instead of saying Milanesa like an actual Milanesa, I'm supposed to
Right.
say Milanezza.
Yeah. No, you can say Milanesa, whatever you what Milanesa is saying. A lot of
I don't know,
people
but
don't know. It's like pizza. You know, when you say pizza, it's like Milanesa. The same.
and the concept when you said starting a Milanesa or a Milanezza, is it something that already exists in in Argentina that you were, or this is an entirely new concept that you developed?
Well, actually, in Argentina, if you go to any restaurant, like there's restaurants called fondas or bodegones. They're like the typical Argentinian restaurant, like they serve comfort food or really like it's not gourmet food or everyday food. And if you go there, and you're gonna see in the menu, they have like a couple of milanesas. Like it's not just the plain one. They have probably the fuaceta, napolitana, or suiza, which are different types of milanesa with toppings on it. So, and there's also a place there that started when I was in a university that's called El Club de la Milanesa, which they really like made this concept with a lot of milanesas also, like we have. So it's actually when we came here, it wasn't a concept that existed here,
Mhm.
but it's like a typical concept that in Argentina. If you go, like I mentioned, to any restaurant, you have like 3 or 4 or 5 types of milanesas. You don't have like the 18 or whatever, like so many that we have in our store.
So when you got into the key and you were making a decision on what type of restaurant to actually, was it always a restaurant? Did you always have a restaurant in mind?
When no, when actually I traveled, I came here a couple of times and to do a little research of what was the best options. But then when I saw an immigration lawyer, he told me that the best option would be the same thing I was doing in Argentina. And at
Mm,
that time, I was managing restaurants. So for like the visa purposes, it was the easiest thing to get our visa,
makes sense.
a work visa. So we did that. But I was also looking into some other stuff. In Argentina, I'd only I worked in the travel business for a long time with my family. So I have a travel agency with my family for 10 years or more. And then I worked in the software business. I was representative for Salesforce.com for Argentina, and we were starting up a business there. And then that was another thing I wanted to do here. But the easiest thing for the visa and for the status reasons was the restaurant. So we went ahead and we started looking to restaurants. And then when we came here with my wife and my family one time during vacations, we saw that it was very difficult to go to a family restaurant and eat well. Like most of the restaurants that were trendy or were like popular were most of them didn't have kids menu or didn't have options for kids and or the food wasn't that great. And then there was other concepts. I don't want to mention names or anything, but that the food quality wasn't that good. It was like most of it was frozen. So or the kids menu was basically mac and cheese or chicken fingers or hot dogs. It wasn't like there wasn't a really actually food for the kids. And then that's why we decided to go with like a family style restaurant, and especially in Key Biscayne, which at that moment was very limited options that they were. So when we just got here, I saw the store. It was leasing. The Don Pan just wasn't,
That's right.
yeah, it was Don Pan before. I
That
went there when it was Don Pan. And then when I came back on another time, I went on vacation, it wasn't there anymore. So I said, this is the spot. I mean, this is amazing. This is where we have to be in the Key. And again, people were saying, no, don't go to the Key. There's like little population. There's no, density there. You're not going to make it. It's very hard. Rents are high. There's not enough people, to make it. And we were looking on it, and then I started looking for other options on, I was looking in Brickell, I was looking downtown and other places. But finally we decided for the Key, and here we are 10 years later, we're still here. So it was a good
awesome.
decision. Yeah.
But I mean, Milanesa right now is, I mean, I want to say it's always packed, at least, during peak times.
Yeah.
I was the other day, like maybe a week ago,
Uh-huh.
you guys had a party in there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
we
don't
had a
know,
party.
but it was like I was going to CVS, it was late. I
Ah,
needed something, and all of a sudden the lights were like flashing. And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
is that like is have they turned it into like Milanesa Club?
Yeah, yeah. We've tried. I mean, we've done a lot. So when we started, we didn't. If you see if you actually see our first menu, like when we just opened, if you see the menu now, it's a completely different restaurant. I mean, when we just opened, we had like basically it was only Milanesas and I think it was like a couple of appetizers and that's it. And maybe a couple of salads. But we didn't have like a grill or pasta or sandwiches. We didn't have a lot of things. During the years we've learned to change. We've done a lot of things. At the beginning, I remember we wanted to turn it something like into a lounge, or we were going to call it Milanesa Lounge or Mila Lounge. And then we started hiring a DJ every Friday nights, and like after 10, turning down the lights and the curtains and everything, and making it turn into a lounge. I mean, and it worked like for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but then people just stopped coming, you know? It's like, and then we just stopped it. And then we organized parties. We said, okay, let's organize some parties. Maybe it's, instead of doing it every week, we can do like parties. But then we started doing some, parties for like special days or special occasion, like Cinco de Mayo, Halloween, etc. And that actually worked. They were great. And then we stopped doing those parties because people were asking us to make a party there, like to hire the place for a party.
Okay.
So then we stopped making our own parties, and then we just like do parties only when they hire us. So now people, because making a party sounds fun, it's really fun, but it's really a lot of work, and especially the la convocatoria, the people, making people actually come, because hard, on the Key, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of events, activities, parties at the houses, parties at, like in the weekends, or people. So it's very, very hard for us to do la convocatoria. I don't remember how you say it in English, but
Yeah, the advertisement, the
yeah,
promotion to get people to come.
people come in there. Yeah, so it was very hard at the beginning. It was easy, but like if you do it every day, it's not interesting anymore for the people. So people always in the Key, they're expecting something new, something different. Something, it's like they get bored easily, so they need something, so to make fun. But we do a lot of parties. We do like private parties actually. The one that you probably saw, it was a birthday, and it's fun. I mean, because the advantage that we have is that it's commercial real estate. So so we can go like longer. Like if we don't bother the neighbors, there's no problem with the with the music, because it's not loud music outside, or so it's indoors and there's no really neighbors around. So the police don't come and ask you to turn down the music like most of the parties in the houses, where you have to stop at 12. So we don't have to do that. So it's an advantage. That's why people usually come to Milanesa. And also like, because we give them like a full bar and like appetizers or finger foods, so that they don't have to worry about anything. They just hire us, and then we take care of everything, the music, the bar, the finger food. So they just come, enjoy, and they leave, and everything. And we have to clean up everything, but they don't have to handle. So it's a good spot for parties. We haven't, well, after the pandemic, before the pandemic, we used to have a lot. After the pandemic, we're starting off again,
Yeah. I know you mentioned the pandemic, and
Yeah.
I worked, well, I still work for local government, but we tried different things to help small businesses. And one of the things was letting people use outdoor spaces,
Right.
I was working at the city of Miami in the time, and we tried that. Not everybody took it, but then I saw that the village of Key Biscayne did something similar. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but you were able to use that space next to your restaurant. And I feel like from outside looking in, I feel like it transformed your business.
Right. Yes.
And I thought it was great. I mean, I loved it because it was outdoors, it was spacious, and then you played music there. I think tell me a little bit about that transformation.
Okay, so let's go back to the pandemic, right? March 2020, when the world was gonna end, and everybody thought the world was gonna end, basically. Everybody was scared. Everybody was going. Everybody was scared to go outside. I remember going to Milanesa and coming back from work to my house, and my wife like opened the door like a little bit and says, "Here's your clothes, change in the hallway. Put your clothes in a bag, go take a shower fast, whatever." So my wife was spraying like sanitizer on the food, and I said, "You're crazy. What are you doing?" It's like, but a lot of people were, panicked like that.
Yeah, everybody was doing
everybody,
stuff,
man.
different things. Yeah.
So no, I mean, and so when the restaurant closed, and when we were ordered to close and do only delivery and takeout, it was really, again, right, the ability to change again. I see like a problem, it's also sometimes a problem, you know, like it's opportunity, you know, so like somebody says that, right? Chinese say that.
And that's
So
just true.
yeah, so what we did was we figured a way to make it, because the good thing is that our delivery was always strong. We always, you know, I always focused on delivery and gave it a lot of importance in the restaurant. You know, since day one, the delivery was very important for us, and it's an important part of a business. So when the pandemic hit and we were only allowed to do delivery and takeout, we were actually very prepared. I know a lot of restaurants didn't give that importance to the delivery, or didn't have the systems in place, or the structure or whatever. So they wouldn't do it, or they didn't want to make it, or they wouldn't want to make a change. And most of them didn't actually survive the pandemic. But I think the restaurants that really made a change and understood what was going on, the first change that we made was that we tried to keep all the staff. Actually, we started with delivery and pickup, and we were getting a lot of orders and a lot of calls from people that not only wanted food, but that wanted groceries. Because at that time, there wasn't anything available for delivery. I mean, it's not like now that you go and, you know, online and you have like a lot of options that people deliver. Everybody delivers to you in an hour or a day, etc. But at that time, there wasn't enough groceries. There weren't that many grocery deliveries. I'm sorry, you know, when Dixie couldn't do deliveries, for example, that's the only place on the key. So I had a lot of people calling me and saying, "Hey, can you tell me, you know, a piece of meat? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that?" And I said, "Sure, you know, why not?" So we started selling like meats by the pounds, or, you know, like a bag of lettuce or like 5 tomatoes. And then we said, okay, we have to take advantage of this, because this is something that, you know, I think it might work. So that's why we created a market. We created an online market. At that time, we were working with Square, the POS system.
Mhm.
And I talked to them and I said, look, we need this. We need to make a market. And, you know, we need to do, our website has to be integrated with our POS, et cetera, et cetera. So they worked with us, and we were able to make the first, actually, one of the first web pages that was integrated with Square was ours. It was all in the
Oh,
pandemic, during the pandemic. Yeah. You know, when you go online and you press purchase or buy, what happens is in the restaurant automatically it prints the ticket in the kitchen or in the bar, you know, or wherever. So it's very convenient, and that really helped us a lot. And during the pandemic, we were able to keep the staff. And most of the staff, instead of doing their work, you know, like a server or a bartender, they were packing food,
claro.
or delivering food, and they were very great. Everybody was grateful now that we were able to make it, and we started helping also. We work with the Key Biscayne Foundation and with other people, and we started also helping the community of Key Biscayne, delivering food for the elderly. You know, we had like a special menu, and then we used to do free deliveries for them. Then we did groceries for them, and then we just started, you know, delivering groceries. Actually, we started our grocery business was very, very good, and then people started calling me for wine and beer and liquor also, and then. So they were calling me, hey, can you sell me a bottle of wine? You know, and before we used to have like a bottle of wine, like every restaurant, like we charge like 3 or 4 times whatever the market price is. But then you know, my friend said, no, charge me, you know, the same price as the liquor store. You know, I said, okay, fine. So we lowered our prices to liquor store prices, and then we started selling wine and beer and liquor, you know, by the case actually. And it was a new business for us that before we didn't sell that. So that's why during the pandemic, really, we kind of like changed our business model, and then we created these 2 other business models. Also, the restaurant was continuing, and then we created like an online grocery store at the beginning, and we worked with that for like a month. And then when we saw that was opportunity with the liquor and wine, we created like the online liquor store. And really that really helped us during the pandemic to make it. And then, as you mentioned, the outdoor seating. One time, you know, the government granted, you know, allowed us to start with the outdoor seating, but it was 6 feet apart. So in our area, actually, the outdoor seating was very limited. So we were only to like put with 6 feet apart. It was like it was like 4 or 5 tables only. So then I talked to the landlord and I said, look, can I use the parking spaces? And he
Mhm.
goes, no, you're not allowed to use the parking spaces. And then then we looked at the side and there was this alley there, where we have this space right now. So I said, "Hey, that's not parking. Can we use that area?" And then we talked to the village and we talked to, the fire and police and everybody. And they let us. They let us use the spaces, that space. We weren't able to use the parking spaces because in front of Milanesa, there's two parking spaces that are handicapped, and there's a handicapped ramp there. So we weren't able to use those. So
Got it.
we had to go to the side. And then when we started using the side, it was great because actually it was even better than the parking spaces because we had more. It's
It was
super.
huge. It was
Yeah, it's
great.
huge. It's as big as the indoors. So actually that really helped us a lot. At the beginning, we didn't want to invest because we didn't know how long we were going to keep it or how long the pandemic was going to last. So at the beginning, we asked some neighbors and friends for chairs and tables, and that's how we started. We started with some friends and neighbors gave us some chairs and tables that they weren't using, and we started that way. And then little by little, we started investing. We were talking to the landlord and to the village. I think this is going on. And they said, "Yeah, you're going to keep it like at least 3 months more, so don't worry about it." So then we started buying some chairs and some tables. And then, as you mentioned, some governments, the government issued there was some help for restaurants and during the pandemic. The bad thing that I'm not a resident, so I wasn't able to get some of the great, loans or grants that are out there for citizens or residents. But
Got it.
I did get help, a lot of help from, Key Biscayne gave me help, Miami-Dade gave me help. And we were able to purchase a lot of stuff thanks to those grants or those loans, so we basically bought all the equipment that we need to operate in the outdoors. We bought like a lot, you've been there, so
Oh yeah.
it's a lot of tables, a lot of chairs. Then we had to, one time we put like an awning or something, I don't remember, and then we had to take it off during a hurricane, so then we just went with umbrellas. But now we're working with the landlord. The landlord granted us the space, so now we're working with the village, and we're gonna build something like more permanent there. That's something that not a lot of people know about. But we're gonna have like the bar. The bar's on the other side, so we're gonna make a hole in the wall and make the bar on the other side also. And
Okay.
we're gonna turn not the whole wall down, but make like a couple of windows there and make a bar on the other side. Yeah,
Okay.
make like a circle on the bar and then make an indoor outdoor bar, and also put a roof on that area, hurricane resistant, so we don't have problems with the village.
All
And
right.
then yeah, so it's a big project we're working on right now. We're working with the architect and the building and the tenant. I mean the landlord.
I know you mentioned we mentioned food here and there, and then of course the Milan, the pizza name, but let's dive a little bit on the menu. So
Okay.
we have the Milanesas, of course, that are like pizza style. Now it makes sense. I mean, I thought it was cool, always, of course. But what else? What else can we find there?
Okay, so basically, as I mentioned before, the menu changed a lot. So over the years, we've added and removed a lot of menu items. And find them out, see if it works. Listening to the customer, what they wanted. Over the years, we've actually turned it more healthy. People started eating more healthy and taking more care of themselves. So it was something that we had to change. That's why at the beginning we only had milanesas, and if we wanted to make it, we had to add other stuff to the menu because we weren't going to make it just by milanesas because people weren't going to eat milanesas every day. In Argentina, it's very typical. I assure you, everybody eats milanesas at least once a week or twice a week. But I know in the States it's very different, especially American people or people that don't speak Spanish, that they don't understand what a milanesa is. When we just opened, everybody thought it was like an Italian restaurant, Milan. They would say, "No, I've been to Milan. This is great." And they thought it was like an Italian place, and trying to they would say, "No, this is actually Milanesa." And then we started to explain, it's actually a breaded pounded meat that we can fry or bake, and then we put toppings on it. So we have to explain actually to everybody the menu. And then we work with pictures. We put pictures all over the place of the Milanesa, so it's easier so people can see and understand what it was. But we made a lot of changes to the menu. Today, I think the menu is huge. I mean, we have a
Yeah.
lot to choose from. We have, appetizers, tapas. I mean, Argentinian restaurants, Argentinians are very influenced by Europeans because we're most of the Argentinians are European descendants. Like, for example, in my case, on my dad's side, they're from Poland, and then on my mom's side, they're from Italy. And then my wife, for example, her mom's Italian, so from her mom's side, it's all Italian. And from her dad's side, her dad's grandpa is Spanish. So, it's very typical that in Argentinian you have a lot of Italian, Spanish, or Jewish food also, because it's or Middle Eastern food, because it's very common in Argentina. So that's what we try to have in our restaurants. We have a lot of pastas, and we always in Milanesa try to bring you the best quality. We have all our pastas they're homemade. They're not frozen. They're not, they're fresh pastas. And the same thing with everything. Argentinians really eat simple. I mean, the food's simple. It's not with a lot of sauces, not with a lot of condiments. It's really simple food, like grilled steaks, with just salt and a little maybe pepper. But the same thing with the salads. Usually Argentinians, the dressing is just probably oil and vinegar or oil and aceto, but we don't put in a lot of dressings on it. And the same thing, that's what we try to do here. That's what I mentioned before, to try. When we were thinking of the restaurant and the menu, we were thinking that we wanted to be oriented to the family, that everybody can eat there every day, that you don't have to get bored. You don't get bored with food that you can eat every day. It's not like today you can go and have a hamburger, tomorrow you can go and have a milanesa, the next day you can go and have a pasta, the other day you can go and have a salad. So there's a lot of options and also for a lot of cultures, because we milanesa is something that's what I learned later on when we did other research on milanesas. But it's a food that many cultures eat it, one way or the other. Like in Europe, it's called schnitzels, or in Japan, it's katsu, or I don't know how you say it, but in the United States, the kids eat chicken fingers, which is also the milanesa, but or chicken parmesan, or in Latin America, I didn't know. For example, Mexico, they eat a lot of milanesas. I didn't know that until I got here. So, but we try to, the menu, it's a big menu again, no? And we have everything. We have a lot to choose from, and I think everybody that goes there is happy with the food, because they can pick whatever. It's just like it's not like before with Milanesa, and then you just think of Milanesa, and then everybody was saying, you have to change the brand name because you don't only serve Milanesas, and people think that if you go there, it's just Milanesa, but you sell a lot of other stuff. And it's something that at one time we were thinking about changing the name, because people, it's like if you call, your place a pizza place, whatever, but we don't serve just milanesas. We have a big menu, and that's something that not a lot of people that go there for know that. If you never went there, you just by the name you won't even think that we have like grilled or pastas or so it's something that we were thinking at one time changing the name. But we kept on it, and it
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, I like it from an outside. Again, from outside looking in,
yeah.
I think you guys are doing a great job. So,
Thank you.
continuing about the menu, what is your favorite dish or dishes?
Dishes. Okay, so I like milanesas a lot. I don't eat them that much now because at the beginning, yeah, we did a lot of tastings and samplings and the toppings and everything. But maybe I eat milanesa once a week, but I don't eat it that much. But no, I eat everything. I mean, I studied in Argentina. I studied business administration for 5 years, and then I studied for culinary school. I went to culinary school for 2 years. And
Okay.
something a lot of people don't know is that I'm a chef, and I used to be on TV. Okay, in Argentina.
Okay.
There you go. That's something that a lot of people know. That's something you asked me before.
I'm gonna look this up. Is there a YouTube video?
No, I don't think so. It was when I was a kid. I was like 20 years old. Actually, I finished my university, and I was working at that time. I think was MetLife or Alico. I was in insurance business. I was in life insurance business. Always when I was watching TV, I was zapping, changing the channels, and when there was like a cooking show, I stopped, and I always looked at the cooking show. Something that I was really always liked as a kid. When I was like 23, I finished my university and I was working. And then one of my colleagues said, "Look, what are you doing?" Because he was studying like something with fruits and vegetables. I said, "What are you studying?" And he goes, "No, I'm studying for a chef." Oh yeah, where? And then I was interested in that, and then I went to the school. And then when I went to the cooking school, I actually took it as a hobby, because I already had my degree in business, so it was like for me it was a hobby, like I can remember everybody, like the kids, my friends were like, they were like studying for the exam and everything. And I was like, come on, man, it's just like, what do you want to study? Like the lettuce or the tomato? I was like making jokes at that. And then, but it was for me, it was like a hobby. And then when I was studying, there was an ad there and it said, you want to be in TV, whatever, you have to do an audition. So I went to the audition and I was chosen for a TV show. So I started cooking on TV, and it was something new for me, And at the beginning, it was fun. I did it for a year, and I did it for 2 years actually. And actually, when I met my wife, I was cooking on the TV, and her friend says, "Hey, that's the guy from the TV. That's the guy that makes that dessert, whatever." So, and but that's something that not other people know. So that there you go. That's the question you have for me. And I
Yeah,
remember. Huh?
the other option for an icebreaker at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something I know. And going back to the menu, it's something that we really work. I mean, since I'm a chef, I've never cooked in Milanesa. I never, I cooked in other restaurants in Minihana. I have to, but not in Milanesa. But I'm savvy, I know about food. I know how to design a menu. I work with the chef a lot on the menu, on the dishes, on the specials. I approve them or not, so. Same. But it's
And
something that I'm.
what about your kids? I'm sure there is, I'm sure they have their favorites that they lean to,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay, going back to my favorite dish is actually paella. What's
oh, okay.
we don't serve it in Milanesa, so that's my favorite dish. Okay, I
But you
really
don't,
like.
you don't serve, you said you don't serve
No, we don't
paella.
serve it. We don't have paella in Milanesa, but I really like seafood. Everything, like my favorite is seafood, probably like fish or seafood. I really like it a lot. That's one
From
of my favorite.
Milanesa, from Milanesa.
From Milanesa, we have it. We have
Yeah,
seafood.
yeah,
And from Milanesa, well, my favorite dish from Milanesa is Milanesa, obviously,
yeah.
but we have seafood also. Very good. And then for my kids actually, I have two kids that they were raised here. Like when I mentioned before, they came here when they were really little. So they speak Spanish. The little guy speaks Spanish like an American. I mean, he,
Yeah.
he doesn't like it actually. He doesn't like speaking Spanish. He talks to me in English. And then my other Tomas, which is 13, he's more into the restaurant. He really likes the restaurant business. He's there, and he goes to the kitchen and he fries the dishes and he talks to the staff. And
Nice.
yeah, and you see there, he goes there and he acts as like a host, and he starts, when he gets there, he really likes the business, and food, and he's really interested in all. He likes business. Let's say he likes the business, and he really likes like eating and tasting new foods. And the other day when there was like a Michelin star restaurant rating here in Miami like a couple of months ago,
Okay.
and there was like 10, I think 10 or I don't know how many restaurants were one-star Michelin stars. And my younger, the Tomas says, we have to go to one of these places. I want to go to a Michelin star restaurant. And for his birthday, he said, I want to go to a Michelin star restaurant. So we took him to one of the places.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then my younger, my Oliver, which is 11 now. He turned 11 a few weeks ago. He's more into video games and friends and art and soccer. He's not really into the restaurant. He likes it, but he's still young, he's in other things.
And there any particular favorites, any plates that they like from the restaurant?
Well, Tomas actually he likes a lot of he likes meat, beef, grilled meats a lot. And then Oliver, he's more into pasta. I mean, and Milanesa. Also, he likes the chicken Milanesa with that we have with pepperoni and cheese, which is like a pepperoni pizza, which is called
Uh-huh.
pepe. He likes the chicken one with tomato sauce, mozzarella, and pepperoni. He orders that all the time. And my other kid, Tomas, really orders. He prefers meats, like grilled meats.
What about your wife?
My wife is more on the healthy side, so she's always eating like a salad or vegetables. She's always on a diet. I don't know why, but she's always on a diet, but she's
Uh,
fine. And she helps me with that. She works with me with Milanesa. She's like a co-owner. My wife takes care of all the branding, everything that's related with marketing and branding and public relations, PR. She's really all her life she worked in companies in Argentina doing that, PR, marketing, and branding, and she's very, very good at it. And she helps a lot with that part in Milanesa. And I take more care of the operation side. So legal, administration, and operation.
Got it.
Handles like the social media, websites, branding.
She also books musicians, right? Because my godson plays,
Yeah,
que
yeah,
Crescente plays for you guys on a regular. Right
yeah,
now he's
yeah,
off in college, but
yeah,
he's
yeah,
here.
yeah. So she handles all the events, like the parties, like the everything, all of the events, catering, all that. The music. We started something good that you mentioned before. Like at the beginning, we started with the live music every Saturday, right? So we started once, to try it out. It was a hit. Everybody loved it. So, and we started helping like local people again, no, local kids that were trying to,
Yeah,
create, learning
yeah.
music. So we did a lot of that. I said and it was great. I mean, it was great for the kids. It was great for us, and it was great for their families and friends, because they had a place where they can go and listen to them. And so it was really like a win-win situation for everybody. So we worked with Crescent. We worked with many. I don't want to name.
Yeah.
Maybe I forget one, and then
Yeah, fair,
I get in
fair.
trouble. But we worked with a lot of kids from Key Biscayne or music groups from Key Biscayne, and at the big, and it was great because they helped us with they helped us because they didn't charge that much. We were at the beginning with the pandemic. We weren't in that great financial situation as we are now. So we couldn't hire really, musicians that you have to pay like 500 or 1,000, whatever, to come to play. So we started working with locals, and it was great because they
Because
also, and because they're local, so people know them, and they're giving. I remember one time Vicente was playing, and we had in the audience was Juanes and
yes, was
and who else was there? It was
see
somebody.
Juan is having dinner with someone
Yeah,
with
it,
another famous person.
yeah. I don't remember the name. He's gonna kill me if he hears that, but.
No, I'm
Well,
sure.
but then Juanes, when obviously I wanted Juanes to go sing, but obviously he was not gonna do it.
You
But
have to go to
he
this
was,
producer for
yeah,
that.
he was talking to Crescent, and he was like cheering him up and telling him, you're great, and you have a great voice. You have to follow, pursue this career, and it was great, for
Yeah.
Crescent.
And Crescente was playing with his friend,
Yeah, yeah,
with the girl, which I forgot,
Paulina, I think it was
Paulina,
Paulina.
and then I think there was a
Yeah, yeah,
connection there too with
yeah, yeah,
Paulina, and so they approached the table, and it was yeah,
yeah.
they were talking, yeah.
It was great. So it's that's also great. The live music is something that we kept. We have every Saturday nights. We have live music. We try to. It's again, no, it's very It's very difficult. One thing is running a restaurant. The other thing is running like your like entertainment. We're changing. It's like we're not a theater. We're not a like a live like
Uh-huh.
a venue. So it's very when you want to manage a restaurant, it's one thing, and then when you want to change the restaurant to something else, it's really a challenge. What I was saying to you about about the parties, organizing a party and organizing live music. So it's something that not a lot of restaurants do because it's a lot of work. It's
No, I believe it.
yeah. and hiring the bands and looking for the right bands that, you know, will fit the audience. Because one day we put like a rock band, I remember. Again, they were locals, but it's crazy, you know, and then we were going like, put the music, you know, put the sound down, you know, you're like bothering the customers. And the guys go, you know, the music man, no, we can't play this, you know, rock and roll. Like it has to, you know, be loud. And says, yeah, but this is a restaurant, you know, it's not like a concert. So then that's why we have to like, you know, really pick the the bands, you know, so we can't put anybody there.
Like you were telling me about all this different things that you guys are doing, trying different things, always adapting, changing, adding things. So you must have a very good team, you know, behind you. So tell us a little bit about that. How's the
Yeah,
team?
that's something also like for entrepreneurs that you have to pick really good that your team, you know, it's very, what I tell always the managers or the chef or whoever we have on the team is that the most important thing about you know the company is the people that work there. Really, it's really, I know it sounds like something like everybody says it, but it's really true. What I mentioned before, I did in my, you know, I did my university in business, and then I used to work in Argentina in American.
Mm.
I used to work in, you know, AIG, MetLife, Alico, which are really big multinational companies that they, you know, they taught me a lot about, you know, the corporate structures and how to, you know, how to work, you know, with your colleagues and respect for the work and everything. So it's something that I really like to transmit to my team. Because what I tell my staff or my managers is that the better team that you have working with you, the easier your life's going to be. You know, if you have people that really, you know,
Hmm.
are in the work, are really, you know, want to learn, that are, you know, for example, for front of the house, which is the servers, bartenders, they have to have customer service, you know, they have to, not a lot of people have customer service like incorporated in them, you know, some
No,
people,
100%. You're right.
what I talk to the managers is always like, make sure the people that work for you, they're good with people, you know, because not everybody's good with people. So they have to be good with people. And then the other stuff they can learn, you know, everything they can learn. So you can learn you can teach somebody how to pour a drink, you know, or make a drink, or how to, but you can't teach them how to be good with people, you know. Like, it's something that either you have it or you don't, you know. What I like to do is always let my managers make their own team, you know. So I do a lot of interviews. I do a lot of, you know, a lot of people come to me and they say, hey, I have my kid that wants to work. I have my relative that wants to work. I have a
Yeah.
friend that, you know, he's looking for work. And I said, sure, you know, come over. I want to meet him. But I always meet him. And then I introduce him to the manager. And it's the manager's or TEF decision to hire him or not. You know, it's not my decision. But when Milanesa was doing better, we started hiring managers. And at the beginning, I didn't hire the best manager. I hired the manager I could pay. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's something that I learned. You know, maybe you have to pay a little more, but hire the better manager. You know, so hire the best people that you can. You know, because it will really make your life simpler.
It pays off too.
Yeah, it pays off,
Mhm.
obviously, and especially in this business that, you know, it's open every day. It's open
Yeah.
now. You know, I'm here in the interview. You know, the restaurant's open, and I'm not there. It's somebody. You know, there's a manager there that's working, and he's doing a great job, and taking care of the place while I'm not there. So the team is really, it's, for me, it's crucial. You know, so, and they're also tied to the results of the company. So if the company does well, they get a bonus. If the company doesn't do that well, they're,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So, and, you know, the same thing for the people they hire. I always tell them, don't waste time. If you see that the person's not good, or you can't train them, or if you want to train, you know, you train them and they're not interested, or they're, you know, they have some,
Or they're not showing up. Sometimes that's a big issue
yeah,
in other
yeah,
areas. People not
yeah,
show up to work.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you have to understand that, you
Hmm.
know, working in restaurants, you don't work with, like, most of the people that you work with are not professionals. You know, they're outside. They have no prior studies. A lot of them didn't even finish high school. You know, so you work with people that they're in a difficult situation in life, and as you mentioned, you know, they have problems. Everybody has problems, but they have other types of problems that maybe you and I don't have, and you have to understand.
Yeah. No, you've done other philanthropic things, right? I remember there was a time where you would have kids pack food.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know exactly for what, but that came to mind when you were talking about helping people.
Yeah. No, I mean, the people that know me know that I like to help a lot. I always help. You know, when people
Mm,
come to me for help, I always help them. You know, it's very, it's life is hard enough, you know, and sometimes you need help. One time in my life, I also needed help, and I went with friends, and some helped and some didn't, you know. But I always say, and you always have to try to help. You know, if you're in a position that you can help, you have to help. That's like something that it's like a rule, you know, I have. So every time somebody comes for me for help, and I really can do it, but sometimes you can't, you know. Somebody comes for me, hey, I need help to buy a yacht. I'm gonna say, look, I can help you, you know, but you know, if
yeah.
you come for me, like for this instance, this employee that
Hmm.
needs the money to pay his, you know, funeral expenses, of course I'm gonna help. Or there's like, for example, what you mentioned about the food and the homeless. We worked with Fundación Hermanos de la Calle.
That's right.
Yeah, they're a local foundation.
Yeah.
They started like it's a local, some local friends. They started, you know, working together and cooking from their houses, and then they got together the weekend on Fridays, and they took the meals to the homeless. And the objective of the foundation is to get people off the streets, which is something amazing, you know. So we really that's something that we started. First we started cooking, you know, ourselves in our houses, and delivering the foods. And then one time, actually, my wife and Malena, and the wife of Narciso, they had this idea that we should, you know, cook in the restaurant and deliver that food to the homeless, you know.
Awesome. No, I think it's great work. It's great work. So I was recently there and that's when we crossed paths and we talked about doing this at the restaurant. And I've heard that you guys were opening a new location. So should I congratulate you now, or is
Yeah,
it open yet? Should
yeah. It's actually we took over a space in Brickell. They're grateful that I have a friend that he actually owns the building. He called me up one day and he says, "Look, there's a company here he's retiring. And he goes, I have to see it. Let me go see it." So I went to see it, and I looked at it and I said, "Look, it's a bakery. I'm really, you know, I'm not into bakery. I'm a restaurant. Because if I can change this into a restaurant," I said, "Sure, I'm really interested, but not as a bakery, you know, but there's no kitchen in place there." So he goes, "Yeah, sure, do whatever you need to do. The place is yours if you want it." Obviously, there's rent involved, etc. No, but we're very excited. You know, something new for us. We took over the place on August 1st. Actually, we're continuing to work as a bakery. So we're working with the architect, and you know, we have to build out the whole space. We're changing everything. So you know how it is here in the architects and building permitting, all that takes a lot of time until you get the building permits. Like it's usually on like 6 months. So these 6 months we're continuing as a bakery, and then when we start with the build out, we're gonna close and turn it into a Milanesa. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's a new challenge, you know, but it's great. I mean, the Brickell for us, it's a great area. We look for at the beginning, we were looking for a place in Brickell to extend our delivery zone, because we were getting a lot of calls from Brickell saying if we delivered in Brickell, but we didn't because it's
yeah, it's far.
far away. Yeah, it's
It's
far.
for delivery, it's far.
Yeah, yeah. But this no, the new restaurant's gonna be, the space is big. It's as big as Milanezza Key Biscayne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the same. It's gonna have a
Okay.
bar. It's gonna be the same. Sit down restaurant, delivery, everything. It's gonna be like a copy of Milanesa Key Biscayne. Yeah, so we're very excited about that.
Congrats on the step. Let us know how it's coming along and when it opens.
Thank you.
So I know that we're running out of time, and we have a couple of Key Biscayne questions that we ask all our guests. Yeah,
All right.
what is your favorite part of Key Biscayne?
My favorite part of Key Biscayne is the beach, obviously. Actually, going to the beach is probably the best part. I live in the tower, so we have I think the best beach here, and because we go to, you know, the best beach for me in Key Biscayne is the Billbags. You know, it's where the less seaweed is, where the less people are, etc. So it's really great. I really like it a lot. Billbags and the beach at the towers is probably my best place. Also,
You have a great sorry for interrupt, but you have a great you don't have any interruption of the view,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because especially at night when you look that way, it's like dark and then the breeze and then the
Yeah,
ocean. It's a very unique spot.
yeah. No, it's great. I think it's great, amazing. Key Biscayne is amazing. All of
Mm,
it. Before when my kids were younger and they wanted to do things with us, we used to ride bikes and we used to go to where the old zoo is, and that's also amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's another place that's I really like about Key Biscayne.
and how does a perfect weekend for you and your family look like?
So the weekends, now I can enjoy my weekends with my family. Before I used to work at the restaurant, but now basically now we usually go out. So when we try to go every Sunday to a new restaurant. That's what we do. To try out a new restaurant. So if we can, right? If we don't have
Mm,
other
claro.
you know, when we go out with the family, we in Argentina, like Sundays are for family, you know. So it's like a really traditional that like families get together on Sundays for lunch or for dinner. And I remember my wife, you know, going to her family's house, and there were like 20 people there, and we would spend the whole Sunday there. So it's really like that. We like to spend like Sundays with families and friends. So for example, this Sunday we have two couples, friends and their kids coming over, and we're gonna make a barbecue here downstairs at the towers.
Nice.
Or else we try to go to a new restaurant, you know, or discover something new. Or usually what we do on Sundays. Kids are a little older and they like to hang out with their friends, you know. So when they were younger, it was easier taking, you know. Now I go, hey guys, you want to go to the beach? And he goes, no, it's boring. I want to go with my friends, you know. So I'm with that age of kids at 13, 11.
Claro.
It's hard.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But Max, thank you so much for jumping on the show to tell us the story behind Milanesa, the team, the family, and everything you guys are doing. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for choosing us, you know, for your time also. You've been more than patient. I'm so gonna lie.
It's okay. So you have
Okay,
thank you. Have a great day.
thank you. All right, see you.